Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while, but today we're going to be reviewing the 20th anniversary character pack, which has all of these lovely figures. I believe there's 25 in here in total, covering all of the Halo games. And without further ado, let's get into it. Our first figure here is not really much of a figure, but this is 343 Guilty Spark from Halo Combat Evolved, and it is a very nice mold. I believe it comes apart. I don't take it apart here, but I believe it does come apart. It is very simple. There aren't really that many decals on it. And as well from Halo CE, there is the purple Cortana. Again, very simple figure. This is more of a background or something your character can hold. The first actual figure from Halo Combat Evolved is this very nice Sgt Johnson, which is the first Sgt Johnson figure that I have in my collection right now. He has all of his nice Combat Evolved gear, which is very cool. I believe the only other the only other Sgt Johnson we've gotten is his Halo 3 appearance. So this is a very nice change. His armor is a very nice, like, darkish brownish gold. It has some very, very nice decaling on the chest right there. But his face does look a little sad, which is kind of funny. But I think this is such a fun figure, and I love him. Moving on to Halo 2, this is our first representative. This is Miranda Keys from Halo 2. Another very simple figure. There's not really too much going on with her. She does have a lot of very nice decaling on her chest, her arms, her shoulders, and her head even has a nice little peg hole in it if you want to use her as a Marine or something like that, which is very nice. And I believe this is the first Miranda Keys figure, and there is a second one coming later in the fall. But overall, a very simple figure, but very nice. Our second representative of Halo 2 is Se Refume, I believe. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but this has to be one of the most unique elite figures that I have in my collection. Everything on this guy looks incredible. The decaling, the armor pieces, and even his little helmet, they're awesome. Everything here looks great, and he even has these nice little rubber backpacks that you can move around, as well as this little rubber apparatus that you can pull in and out of his mouth if you decide to, and his goggles are also rubber and you can move them around just like that. He does, however, have a weird thing with his hands where he has the 4 fingers instead of the 3 that you'll see on the figure after this, but honestly it's not too big of a complaint and I love him. Our first representative for Halo 3 is the Shipmaster Vadoom, or Vadoom, however you pronounce it. This is the first figure of him ever, I think. I believe there might be an old one out there somewhere I'm not aware of, but so far this is the very first Vadoom that we have gotten in fully articulated form. He has a very awesome headpiece. His head is the normal elite head, but customized a bit so that he's missing half of his jaw, and his helmet also represents this. It is a new mold because it is missing the other half of its jaw. He has all of the basic gear for an elite, so the Halo Infinite elites, most of their armor is on this guy. He does have the Ultra shoulder pads, and he has a 3-finger hand, as you can see here, with the classic purple energy sword. Sadly, mine does come apart pretty easily right there, so hopefully I'll be able to fix that in the future. But for now, I'm happy with what I have, and this is a really awesome figure. One of the weirder figures in this pack has to be the Halo 3 Prophet of Regret. Normally, I imagine the Prophet of Regret being a bit more green, but I guess they decided to go with a bluish purple for his robe. He has a very nice little backpack piece, and has some interesting articulation down here by his feet, which is a little weird. But when you take off his helmet, he has a flat head, and he also has the 3-finger hands. You don't really see it there, but yeah, he's an interesting figure, but one I don't mind. Probably one of the best Halo games in the library has to be Halo 3 ODST, and these next two figures represent it perfectly. Dare here is a wonderful figure that looks very good. It is very simple, but it does it to its best degree. You can see on the helmet kind of that it says Dare. She has very nice printing on all of her armor, as well as a nice sand blue armor color that they used. Overall, just a really good ODST figure, and I'm very happy to have this, even though I don't have Alpha 9. This guy used to be very hard to come across because he only came in, I believe, 1 or 2 sets, but now he's here and he looks amazing. Mickey is absolutely stunning in his figure. He has a very nice olive green armor that they use and a completely new backpack mold, or at least one that I haven't seen before, and I am honestly here for it. It looks really nice. The red on his armor pops really well, and I have to say he is very much a standout figure amongst the crowd. And of course he has his arm printing, or hand printing, my bad, and his classic spanker rifle, as well as all of these perfect little details. This guy is just such a cool figure. Halo Reach has my second favorite campaign behind Halo 2 in it, and Emil is just captured perfectly here. He looks so good, down to his iconic helmet with his skull mask on it, and all of the other little details on him. His whole chest is painted. Sadly, he does have a misfunctioning arm, which sucks for my first Emil figure, but I believe I can fix this. However, he does have good decaling and details on both his shoulder pad and his forearm. His chest is also very nicely detailed, and of course he has his classic kukri, which sadly you can't mount onto his shoulder, but you know, it can't all be perfect. Diving quickly into Halo 5 here, this is Spartan Linda from Blue Team, and although I'm not a huge fan of 343's art direction in Halo 4 and 5, I am definitely a fan of this figure. This figure just has such cool armor pieces and really good molding, and the decals on it really just make it pop. However, she doesn't have Normfang, but I do have the Halo Heroes version of that, so I can just give that to her and improve that. But honestly, this is a very solid figure, and it's simple but effective. Now, going back to Halo Reach, we have Carter, the leader of Noble Team, and probably one of the coolest Spartans ever, I would say. Not as cool as Master Chief and Emil, but definitely one of the cool ones. He has some very nice armor here, with his other accent colors being silver. He has silver arms and legs, and a very nice darker blue on his armor, as well as little red decals on his antenna. This blue armor I've been seeing a lot more with the recent Halo Infinite figures, with some of the blue Spartans and the blue elites, but this guy looks great. He has decals everywhere and little details everywhere, and he honestly just stands out so much, as well as his DMR, which technically isn't the Halo Reach DMR, but I'm fine with it because I'm not really going to be looking at this gun too much. I'm going to be looking at the guy. Finishing off our Halo 4 and 5 figures, this is the Halo 4 Master Chief. He is another very simple figure. There's Master Chief figures everywhere. He's been done a million times, but I do have to say this one is a very nice figure, especially the one that I got, which has another dysfunctional arm. But whatever. It's nice to have the sticky detonator in my arsenal now, and he'll make a good addition to my collection. Again, his olive color armor is very nice, and it very much stands out. It makes him pop. His visor is also really nice. As I said, he has a dysfunctional arm, but hopefully I'll be able to fix these 3 figures in the future. Other than that, a simple Master Chief figure, but an effective one. Sadly, one of the few figures to represent Halo Wars 2 here, and Halo Wars, is Jerome of Red Team. He also looks really good. He's another very simple figure. There isn't really too much to him. He's a simple Spartan. He has some very nice red decals, which, although they are kind of messy in some places, they do get the job done, and they pop a lot. Another thing I love is this little Spartan helmet on his shoulder pad. Other than that, he's another very simple figure, and I like him a lot. Okay, so this guy is just weird. This is Mr. Chief from, I guess, Halo 5's rec weapon thing, kind of. He's also in Halo Infinite, but he's like 343's weird mascot thing. I don't know. He's funky looking, but he's a fun figure. He's a peg hole for some reason. I don't know what he does, but he's not really much of a action figure. He's more of like a mini doll that you can kind of like pose a little bit. I like how his details look like they're scribbled on and stuff, and he's got that nice grimace on his face and also the bug eyes and a really weird blue assault rifle. It's an odd choice, but you know, I'm kind of here for the figure. He's really fun. Here are some of the last few figures in this pack. These are going to be all the gold figures, and I'm going to run through them pretty quickly because they're all pretty standard. This is the Halo Infinite Master Chief, the gold Cortana, which, you know, represents basically most every Halo game, honestly. As well as this, the gold Spartan Lock, that represents Halo 5, another very nice figure, and my first Lock figure. Next up is the gold Arbiter. I have plenty of Arbiters, but this guy is really cool, and he's another really cool figure to add to the pile. In my opinion, one of the most unfortunate figures in this pack is the gold Atriox, which, although it is cool that we got a gold Atriox, this pack is full of characters that are rare or hard to find, so him being all gold is kind of a bummer. I would have liked a fully colored Atriox, but, you know, it's a good one to add. In total, this pack is full of awesome figures to collect, and I would recommend it to anybody who is trying to kickstart their collection because this represents everything.